Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and today's video is going to be a fun one. In today's video, we have a trainer emptying the spice cabinet in the Great League and running a team featuring Fraxure. Now, honestly, I don't think I have ever made a video on this channel featuring Fraxure before, so these games should be quite interesting. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Austin, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now for the moveset, Fraxure is running the reworked Dragon Tail with Night Slash and Aqua Tail, so it's going to have incredibly fast pacing. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and take a look at Fraxure in action in the Great League. Off to a great start in game number 1, it's actually a simultaneous save switch. Shadow Gyarados switching into the Florges. Florges is going to get outpaced, choosing to switch out instantly, understanding the opponent was not going to be staying in that matchup, is a really heads-up play. Trailblaze is going to land, doing quite a lot of damage, but Gyarados is able to hang on, making it to a second Aqua Tail. The first was shielded, the second is shielded as well, the opponent going down both shields, and now in comes Gastrodon. Unfortunately for Gastrodon, it's going to have to double shield as the threat of a Trailblaze is just simply too much. Opponent realizes this and they're able to get a Chilling Water shielded, which is quite nice, as that of course is going to be lowering the damage output of the Gastrodon. Neutralizing this Florges is extremely important because of Fraxure in the back. Water Pulse lands, there's the switch into Fraxure, getting a catch. This is a heavily boosted move, but luckily, it is going to be resisted. So the Trailblaze lands, Fraxure able to get the farm down. Opponent sends in Typhlosion, and Typhlosion never had a chance. Fraxure too spammy, getting to the Aqua Tail. That picks up the one-hit KO. In the back, they have their own Gastrodon. This Aqua Tail is not going to do a ton of damage, but getting chip damage is very helpful because now Austin's Gastrodon does have the health advantage. And that's going to be very important as his Gastrodon will be able to survive a Water Pulse, but the opponents will not be able to hang on. So he throws one extra Mud Slap to guarantee it's in range. Water Pulse picks up the knockout, and that's a good game. Hopping into game number 2, Gastrodon into Unova Stunfisk, an unbelievably good lead. Opponent's going to save switch into Golisopod, and Golisopod is honestly a pretty scary Pokemon for this entire team. Shadow Gyarados, while it does resist both charge stacks from the Golisopod, it's still a Shadow Gyarados, so it is taking monster damage. Gyarados full charges the crunch, but Golisopod puts up the shield. Golisopod throwing energy is honestly pretty nice, as this could potentially set up farm for the Fraxure. In comes Fraxure. Fraxure not going to get a farm down before a charge stack is reached, so Fraxure will just fire off the Night Slash. Night Slash is going to land, picking up the knockout, and back in comes Unova Stunfisk. Stunfisk will be taking quite a bit of damage from these super effective Aqua Tails. Fraxure puts up the shield. I imagine it's not going to be the bulkiest Pokemon around considering how glassy its final evolution Haxorus is. Back-to-back Aqua Tails are reached, that does do quite a lot of damage. If Fraxure went for good charge stack timing, the opponent would outpace, so I do like the decision to throw on alignment and just take the knockout. In the back is Corviknight, and Fraxure is farming up so much energy. Fraxure just needs to get as much damage as it possibly can. Corviknight does not get the boost, so a bit of good luck goes Austin's way, and now the back-to-back Aqua Tails are loaded. The opponent can never afford to shield one of these Aqua Tails because they'll do less damage than a Water Pulse. But now that they've no-shielded, Gastrodon is going to try and slap down. Gastrodon, no Protect Shields left to hide behind, which means this payback is guaranteed to land, but no, they fish for the Air Cutter boost, hoping that might boost up their damage, but they do not get it, and now they're in trouble because Air Cutter plus Payback does not knock out Gastrodon without a boost. Payback lands, Gastrodon hangs on, and they immediately top left the match. Gastrodon doesn't even have to hit any bubbles, and that's a good game. Hopping into the next match, and it's the same lead, Gastrodon into Stunfisk. Stunfisk staying in this matchup for a little bit before they send in Galarian Moltres. Galarian Moltres is a big problem for this entire team. In comes the Gyarados, but watch Gyarados' health bar. Gyarados is just getting absolutely deleted by Sucker Punches. The good news for Gyarados is it has so much energy now. The Dragon Breath energy generation is incredible. Firing off Aqua Tail number 1, immediately followed by Aqua Tail number 2. And we see a double shield from the Moltres. Moltres does get a full farm down, definitely not ideal. In comes Gastrodon. Moltres tries to go for the charge stack priority tie. Will they have full set the Brave Bird? No, they only ended up going for the Fly. Now Gastrodon is forced to take the knockout with the Body Slam, but with switch advantage lost, if they have another Flyer in the back, this could get very tricky. In the back is not a flyer, but rather it's going to be a Shadow Fortress. Fortress going to be hit for some pretty solid neutral damage from Aquatail. Aquatail is going to land. Fortress going to switch out, and out comes the Stunfisk. Opponent knows that their only way of beating the Gastrodon is with that Fortress. Aquatail lands, and that does do some pretty nice damage. Fraxure will get outpaced. It's going to get knocked out, but this is going to set up the Gastrodon to win the game, as Gastrodon just needs to fully Mud Slap all the way down and exit with the Water Pulse loaded. Stunfisk goes for the Mud Bomb, frantically trying to stall out the switch timer, but it's not going to matter as Stunfisk gets fully slapped down, and back in comes the Fortress. Fortress, Water Pulse is going to land. That plus the slap will deliver the knockout and secure the win. We move to the next match, and Gastrodon is just feasting on these leads. Oh my goodness, leading into Dedenne. Dedenne is staying in this lead matchup. I don't know what they could have in the back that causes them to stay in this lead matchup. They're going to land the play rough. That does quite a lot of damage. Gastrodon will go for the body slam, recognizing that a parabolic charge will be reached if Dedenne looks for the full farm down. Immediate switch into the Gyarados as the opponent sends out Corviknight, and in the back they have Bastiodon. The Bastiodon is not going to be a problem in this game, but what is going to be a problem is going to be that Corviknight. Corviknight is going to be a huge issue for Fraxure to try and get rid of. As we saw in the previous games, two Aquatails do not come close to knocking out. Bastiodon gets that full farm down. In comes the Gastrodon. Gastrodon did not have a charge tech loaded. Gastrodon no shields as a Stone Edge comes through, but it will not be enough to knock out. In comes the Corviknight. You really have to hope Corviknight no shields the Water Pulse here. Water Pulse does get no shielded. Maybe there is a chance. Fraxure farming up. Do you have to try and call an air cutter bait? Fraxure is going to no shield. It is going to be the air cutter. And luckily no boost comes through. Even more lucky, the opponent with a big timing error. They meant to do 2 sand attacks in the move, but they end up doing 3. Now Fraxure will go for the Night Slash, hoping for a boost. Night Slash does get the shield, but no boost comes through from the Fraxure. Fraxure going for another Night Slash. This Night Slash is going to be shielded, but the luck is not with Fraxure in this game. Fraxure, no boost to speak of, needing to land an Aquatail. There's the boost from Corviknight. I spoke too soon, but that's the boost on the wrong side of the field. Aquatail lands, picking up the knockout. In comes Bastiodon. Bastiodon gets the farm down. Gastrodon, oh, it's a simultaneous knockout, and that game will end in a tie. Picking up a great lead in the next match, Gastrodon into Shadow Scizor. Gastrodon can always dictate this matchup very, very comfortably due to the fact that Scizor has no meaningful fast move pressure. Scizor baits with a Night Slash, Gastrodon goes for a Body Slam, and that's a nice catch by the opponent as they catch onto Azumarill. Azumarill is a huge problem for the Pokemon in the back, so this play is actually going to work out really nicely for the opponent. Gastrodon has the back-to-back body slams locked and loaded. First body slam is going to land. Opponent risks a CMP tie, which is a bit of a surprise because they do lose that CMP tie, but they make a big error. They throw the Ice Beam. Ice Beam would not knock out, and now energy is saved on the Gastrodon, and out comes the Gyarados. Gyarados, no shielding. Play rough is absolutely devastating, and unfortunately for the Gyarados, Gyarados is going to be forced to throw so much energy into this Azumarill because Azumarill is a complete wall. Azumarill is going to no shield. Gyarados looks like playing to the CMP tie, really needing this Aquatail to knock out, and it does. It barely picks up the knockout. In comes Giratina as their final Pokemon. How well have they been counting? They don't trust it. They put up the shield, and Fraxure is going to have to put in some work in the endgame. In comes Fraxure. Fraxure getting to the Night Slash. Night Slash is super effective, but it does not get same type attack bonus. Night Slash is going to be shielded. There's the boost, and the opponent throws on alignment. A huge error from the opponent. The Dragon Claw gets shielded, and now there's a Fraxure on the loose. Quick switch into the Gastrodon as the opponent could have made it to a Night Slash. They undercharge the Night Slash, but now Gastrodon will actually click the Body Slam and fully undercharge it. The Body Slam does not knock out, and that's the perfect play that's needed because you don't always need to take the knockout. Getting the farm on Fraxure is more important. Night Slash lands. There's the Dragon Tail farm down. A hectic endgame, but it's going to end in a win. We've got a battle of water types in the next match. Gastrodon versus Feraligatr. Feraligatr will have the pacing advantage in this matchup, and the opponent throws on alignment, granting an entire free Mud Slap to the Gastrodon. Opponent is going to make a very nice catch, catching the Body Slam onto Cradily, so they're able to get a bit of redemption after the free Mud Slap. Now out comes Shadow Gyarados because unfortunately, this team does not have an answer to Cradily. A lot of the times when you're trying to team build around something spicy, like in this case a Fraxure, you're going to have to make certain compromises. Sometimes there's going to be meta Pokemon that you're just going to be weak to, and you're just going to have to figure out a way to beat it. And for this team, it's definitely Cradily. Honestly, Azumarill as well in the previous matches was quite tough, but Cradily does get knocked out. Back in comes the Feraligatr. The Feraligatr has taken a lot of damage throughout the course of this match. It is very low. Aqua Tail lands, Dragon Breath Snipe picks up the knockout, and in the back is Primeape. Primeape is always scary when it's able to get an energy advantage, and that's exactly what it's going for here. So Primeape is going to keep farming. They decide to throw, and that is very, very nice. They will exit the matchup boosted, but they burned almost all of their energy. In comes Fraxure. Fraxure will get to the Aqua Tail, and the important thing to remember is Gastrodon is very close to a Body Slam. So Fraxure is able to get the shield. Opponent throws on alignment again. The no shield calling the Rage Fist, but that's big damage onto the Fraxure. Back in comes the Gastrodon. Gastrodon does get the Mud Slap through. Opponent, their consistent mistiming of charge attacks is going to be their downfall in this one, as Gastrodon now has the Body Slam loaded, knocking out the Primeape and securing the game. We move to the next match. It's going to be Gastrodon on the lead, staring down Shadow Scizor. A very nice lead for the Gastrodon. Scizor going to stay in, but considering what's in back, this is exactly where Gastrodon wants to be. Gastrodon will always shield the bait here, because even though it's basically always guaranteed to be a bait from the Scizor, as the Gastrodon, you always have to invest. Opponent gets a Night Slash boost, and that's going to force both shields, as Gastrodon did not throw the Body Slam. In comes Azumarill, and this is looking like an incredibly difficult game to win, as Azumarill is going to get hit with Body Slam after Body Slam, but down 2 shields to 0, Azumarill should be able to be an absolute wrecking ball against this backline. Gastrodon will keep spamming out these Body Slams. Azumarill now into the yellow HP. Azumarill, a miscount from the opponent, and that is going to cost them extra health or a shield. Azumarill getting as low as it is honestly the best case scenario for Austin. Opponent undercharges. They send in Feraligatr looking for a farm down, but there's an immediate switch out into the Gyarados. Gyarados, Aqua Tail is going to be shielded by the Feraligatr. Feraligatr will be able to take the knockout with the Ice Beam, and realistically, without a catch, there is now no way to win this game. As even though the Azumarill is very, very low, it should be the Feraligatr that's in prime position to sweep. In comes the Fraxure. Fraxure will outpace, getting to the Night Slash, and this will peel away that final shield. Feraligatr is going to be 2 away from the Ice Beam. Fraxure is going to switch into the Gastrodon and get the catch. The opponent letting that catch happen is going to be what dooms them in this one. Fraxure will take the knockout with this Night Slash. Azumarill should be very close to a move. Can they get there? In comes Azumarill. It's going to be a CMP tie. And somehow that game looked doomed 5 times over. Fraxure is able to fight back and take the win. Gastrodon into Azumarill in the next match, and my goodness, this team cannot catch a break from the Azumarills. Azumarill is just an absolute nightmare as it beats everything on the team. Immediate no shield from the Gastrodon. They do go for a Play Rough. In this matchup, I believe double Ice Beam is actually the preferred method to go for, just because one Play Rough does not set up a farm down. We actually see a simultaneous switch out, Shadow Gyarados into Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn's Power Whip is going to do so much damage. The no shield, Gyarados hangs on, but it's not by much. Gyarados going for the crunch. This will do some pretty significant damage. Ferrothorn is going to no shield. Gyarados barely able to hang on by the narrowest of margins and making it to crunch number 2. That crunch lands. Ferrothorn gets KO'd. It's Talonflame in the back, and they're not going to like to see Fraxure. There's the switch into Azumarill, immediately answered with the Gastrodon. Gastrodon's Body Slam into the Azumarill is going to be no shielded. And now it's going to be up to Fraxure to take home the win. Ice Beam lands, picking up the knockout. In comes Fraxure. Fraxure, can it Dragon Tail down? Fraxure, it looks like that's what it's going to go for. I think he tried to CMP tie, but did get the 1-turn bring in, which is a little bit unfortunate. But that's just going to set up the farm down. And now the pacing of Fraxure is about to be way too much for Talonflame to deal with. Talonflame gonna get hit with the Aqua Tail. They put up the shield, but there's 2 more Aqua Tails locked and loaded. Fraxure on a rampage, a sentence I thought I would never say. And there's Fraxure already at a 3rd Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail lands, Talonflame hangs on, but they only have 80 energy. There's still 1 Incinerate short of the double up, which means Fraxure will get the farm down. Had the 4th Aqua Tail, but as it turns out, did not need it. Hopping into the final match, Gastrodon into Talonflame. The safe switch into Gyarados answered with Furret. And Furret is a bit of a problem Pokemon for this team. It just offers incredible neutral matchups across the board. Furret does end up no shielding. Gyarados is going to make it to the Aqua Tail on charge attack priority. The opponent may have been looking to go for a Trailblaze. We'll have to see. They are going to fire off their energy. It is going to be the Trailblaze, and they will get a one Sucker Punch head start. And now in comes the Gastrodon. Gastrodon can look for a one shield farm down, and why this play is going to work out so well is because the opponent will never bring a Talonflame into a loaded Gastrodon, so they're going to bring out their third. And when they do, and it ends up being their own Gastrodon, they automatically lose the game because now Talonflame is about to get absolutely fractured. The Water Pulse is going to land. Gastrodon looks like it's winning charge attack priority on Water Pulse number 2. This Water Pulse is going to be undercharged. It still knocks out. In comes Fraxure into Talonflame. Fraxure farming up a ton of energy, getting to the back-to-back Aqua Tails, and this should be curtains for the Talonflame. Aqua Tail is going to be shielded, but Aqua Tail winning charge attack priority. The pacing on Fraxure, taking the knockout, and that is a good game. Honestly, prior to these battles, I think I had largely forgotten that Fraxure was a Pokemon. I know in concept, Axew has a middle evolution between Axew and Haxorus, but you never really see Fraxure anywhere. Like, Fraxure is never really being shouted from the rooftops as someone's favorite Pokemon. You don't really see it in the Go Battle League. I don't think it makes an appearance in the video games, either in like the competitive scene, the VGC. So it's a Pokemon that's largely forgotten. Now, even in Pokemon Go PvP, it's not a Pokemon I'd ever recommend if you're looking to gain Elo just due to its extreme frailty. Like, my goodness, we remember when Haxorus, back when Counter was at its peak, was meta, and Haxorus was extremely glassy. Well, Fraxure is right up there. Haxorus had an attack stat, I believe, in the 150s. Fraxure is around 145, if I'm not mistaken. So that's still winning Captai over Scizor by like 7 to 8. So that's a monster attack stat. But obviously with an attack stat like that and a 1500 combat power format, that means you're going to have absolutely negative bulk. And that's part of why Fraxure doesn't really see any play, is there are safer dragons, there are bulkier dragons. They don't have the pacing of Fraxure, being able to spam out Aqua Tail and Night Slash every 9 turns, but having that little bit of extra bulk can be really beneficial in a meta where there's really bulky Pokemon like Galarian Corsola, Cradily, and Azumarill that can really just absorb hits. And if you're going up against some of these bulkier teams, it's a lot tougher to use the glass cannons. But these are some very fun battles, so many thanks to Austin for sending them in. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, please do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.